Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. I am very excited about today's video. Today's topic is going to be everything to do with the Backrooms. In honor of the new movie coming out, I believe at the end of this month. Isn't it coming out like May 29th or something? Regardless, I am very excited about the movie. I have been a follower of all things Backrooms since basically its origin, so I'm very excited to get into today's video. We are going to just be discussing all things Backrooms, from the origin to the lore surrounding it to what they are, and then a little bit later in the video we will also dive into how the Backrooms is now being turned into a movie being produced by A24. So if you are interested in all of that, then please keep watching. So if you do not know anything about the Backrooms, I'm just going to give you a little visual of kind of what to imagine as we talk about this more. So imagine that you're walking through your house or some familiar area late at night or in the dark, and suddenly you get kind of that weird bone-chilling feeling. The hair stands up on the back of your neck and things just start to feel off or wrong or slightly out of place, like something just doesn't feel exactly right. Maybe the hallways in your house seem longer than usual. Maybe it's extra quiet, almost too quiet, or maybe even for a second you don't necessarily feel grounded in reality. Now imagine taking one wrong step in the wrong direction, or opening a door that you thought maybe you shouldn't have, and falling completely out of reality. You fall into a place where there's no windows, no exits, no people, and really no way to escape at all. Sounds terrifying, right? And a little bit creepy. This is the Backrooms. I would definitely say this is one of the more disturbing internet urban legends that we've ever come across, or that I've ever come across. Just the concept and the idea of being in a space that almost feels familiar, but for some reason is not and feels off or weird is enough to send me into a literal spiral. So truly my worst nightmare, but I feel like that's the case for a lot of people. It's just a very, very creepy situation and thing to think about. So what basically started as one singular image being posted online has now turned into this massive horror phenomenon, basically an entire mythology, and honestly one of the internet's biggest conspiracy horror type theories ever. And even more so now, it's being turned into a major Hollywood movie. So crazy that this all came from one picture that got posted online. I would say overall, the major thing that makes the Backrooms feel just so extra creepy is that somehow it still also feels real, even though we know it not to be. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. What exactly are the Backrooms? The Backrooms are basically this hidden sort of dimension that someone can accidentally fall into. And this dimension basically exists outside of the reality that we know. The kind of idea or premise behind it is that reality itself can sort of glitch. One term that's used a lot with the Backrooms is this theory about noclipping. So I hadn't heard this term before really deep diving into the Backrooms. So basically, if you're a video gamer, you're going to know what this is, but in certain games, no-clip mode basically allows a player to pass through walls and escape boundaries of the map, basically do things that they really shouldn't be able to do or that defies the laws of physics or just reality overall. So the Backrooms basically take that exact concept from the video game of no-clipping and applied it to real life. Sometimes reality itself has these weak points that an individual can then no-clip into or almost slip through. If you hit one accidentally, you can completely fall out of reality as we know it, or our world. Basically, when something like this happens and you no-clip into the Backrooms, you fall into this endless maze of empty rooms and liminal spaces and just very terrifying, almost reality, but something's not quite right areas. Another thing about the Backrooms is that they're generally described as being almost familiar, but something slightly off, or a memory you have from childhood, almost like a nostalgic area or a liminal space, but something is definitely not right. And you kind of sense that in your subconscious, or like I said, in the way that your hair may stand up on the back of your neck, or you get those chills when you just are in a situation that you know you shouldn't be, or where you get a feeling that something bad is about to happen. That's kind of how the environment is in the Backrooms. A lot of people describe the Backrooms as having a smell of old moist carpet, the yellow wallpaper, the constant buzzing of the fluorescent lights, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms. So this just constant creepy maze with these ugly yellow walls and blinding but annoying flickering lights, and just this endless maze of rooms to kind of walk through. So the Backrooms, from my understanding, originated online back in 2019, specifically on 4chan. 4chan has been the birthplace of countless memes, horror stories, creepypastas, conspiracy theories, internet legends, you name it, it's probably been on 4chan or started there. But nobody really imagined that this random image that would get posted on 4chan would become one of the biggest horror phenomena in the decade. Someone asked users to post images themselves that felt unsettling without showing anything actually scary, just kind of creepy, unsettling images. Think like liminal space images. So the original image that was posted on 4chan just showed an empty, yellow, office-like room, and it wasn't anything violent, it wasn't anything weird or graphic, it just seemed off. It had this weird sort of off-putting vibe. And that single post really took off and kind of started the whole lore of the Backrooms and kind of changed horror history on the internet from that point on, or at least added to it. A lot of users and people noted is that the image itself felt very eerily familiar, but like something was off. And the general consensus was that across multiple people who viewed this picture and interacted with this post. Most people have seen places similar to this 4chan poster's original picture of what is now known as the Backrooms. So think liminal space, like I said, things like abandoned office buildings, empty hotel hallways, empty classrooms, waiting rooms, forgotten mall corridors, abandoned areas such as malls or large buildings, places of business, places basically that have been designed for people that are now eerily empty. That's truly, I feel like, what makes the Backrooms so disturbing is that the Backrooms don't necessarily feel alien or unreal. They really feel almost normal, and our brains don't like that. It's kind of the same thing if you think of like Uncanny Valley, but with actual places instead of people's faces, which just really adds to the suspense and just kind of the creepiness factor of the Backrooms. And I think to further understand why the Backrooms exploded, it is important to note the creepiness of these liminal spaces. Liminal horror itself is kind of its own genre on the internet, and the Backrooms really kind of at least added to that, if not heightened it. Where normally these spaces would be full of people and laughter and talking and movement and loud noises, but when they're empty, it almost feels wrong or dreamlike in a way, or these places seem familiar to us, like we've been there a million times, but something just isn't right this time. A lot of people often describe liminal spaces as being a little bit nostalgic, but uncanny. Like I said, think Uncanny Valley. And many people believe that's why this concept spread so quickly online and just kind of took off from this singular image on 4chan, because many people are like, well, why does this feel so familiar, but I'm so creeped out by it? Why did the Backrooms stop being just a creepypasta and develop as much as they have? People really took off with the Backrooms and began treating it like it was a true conspiracy theory. Some connected it to the theory that we're all in a simulation, which if you would like a second video on that, I would love to do it. I could go on and on about simulation theory forever. That's not what this video is about. So if you'd like a second video on that, let me know. But many people tie it to simulation theory or alternate dimensions, glitches in reality, even multiverse theories. A lot of people describe dreaming about places identical to the images they're seeing of the Backrooms that circulate online, or experiencing missing time and attributing that to a visit to the Backrooms, or they felt sudden moments of almost derealization that remind them of the Backrooms. Obviously, there's no concrete evidence that the Backrooms are real, of course. This is just an online theory or phenomenon, but psychologically, the fear definitely is there for most people. That eerie, just creepy, uncanny feeling that you get when you're looking at images of Backrooms is a very real feeling. If you've ever seen the movie Vivarium, that's a really good way that I would describe the feeling of the Backrooms, just that dreaded, awful, endless feeling, like you're just trapped somewhere, but there's nothing you can do about it. In most, horror movies or stories, there's always some sort of escape element or way to get out of the situation you're in, whether it's escaping the house you're trapped in or killing the monster, but the Backrooms doesn't offer any sort of hope like that. And I do believe that's another reason that it has such a grip on everyone. The back rooms just being so monotonous, just infinite rooms, buzzing lights, isolation, creepy noises. That's almost scarier than the monster hiding under your bed. So how did we get to where we are today with the back rooms? Obviously, it went from just any other internet creepypasta to now being made into like a major motion picture. So how did we get here and what's the lore behind it? Because originally the back rooms were very, very simple, just literally endless yellow rooms. And then the internet blew it up and expanded it. And now people have created different levels of the back rooms, entities within the back rooms, survival rules and like regulations basically about what happens in the back rooms and on as it pertains to the different levels of the back rooms. Hidden colonies that live there, think like the movie Us. Objects, exits, safe zones of the back rooms, basically entire ecosystems and civilizations that are a part of this parallel universe or are a part of the back rooms themselves now. Basically, the back rooms just eventually became this giant collaborative separate horror universe that kind of teeters on the brink of reality. The original back rooms photo with the yellow walls and endless hallways kind of became what's known now as level 0 of the back rooms. Like I said, there's a lot of lore surrounding this now and a lot of different rules and levels and limits and entities and all of that kind of stuff. So the original Backrooms post kind of became level 0 and it goes up from there. So some more notable or famous levels include level 1, which is the classic industrial hallways with pipes and electrical systems and things like kind of sparking and being just scary looking. We have level 2, which is dark maintenance tunnels filled with just dangerous, creepy entities. There is level 37, which I see a lot on TikTok, like just people making videos about level 37. It's the endless flooded hotel. So you can just imagine how creepy that looks. Also level fun is another one that I see a lot online. Very, very creepy, if not one of the more creepier ones that I've seen. It appears colorful and welcoming at first, almost like a children's party room or like a kid's birthday party, but it's supposedly inhabited by creatures called partygoers that lure people in with fake friendliness. Tragedy strikes from there. So it's a very, very creepy place and one of the more notable ones that I've seen online. There's so many more online. I can probably do a whole other video just on Backrooms levels, but we would again be here all day. So drop it in the comments below if you want a simulation theory or parallel universe dedicated video and also a levels video for the Backrooms. So originally there weren't really monsters or entities or anything like that in the Backrooms. Basically the environment itself was the horror and many fans didn't really feel the need to add any sort of entities to that. These creatures called entities were introduced. And some of the more notable or famous ones are called smilers, hounds, skin stealers, and then of course the partygoers. They're usually depicted as somewhat humanoid, almost that uncanny valley, but more yellowy humanoid creatures with really creepy, distorted, smiling faces. Whereas the real horror of the Backrooms at first was just kind of existential and just this like looming feeling of monotony and nothingness, and basically the idea that you somehow broke out of traditional reality as we know it. Now there's entities added on top of that. Many original fans as well of the Backrooms do argue that the Backrooms themselves never really needed entities. The environment itself was creepy enough without this added on. But everything changed and took a turn. There was a teenage filmmaker who goes by the name of Kane Parsons, or on YouTube, Kane Pixels, and he uploaded a short film called The Backrooms Found Footage. And the internet absolutely took this and ran with it, myself included. I vividly remember when these videos came out and I was obsessed. The internet really went crazy with this because these videos looked so incredibly real. Truly incredible filmmaking. I can see why this was turned into a movie. Kane Parsons really took the Backrooms and brought it to life. The video basically used like VHS style footage to make it feel even more real. It did have like that POV sort of filming style, so you had that kind of realistic camera movement element where, you know, the camera holder jumped when there was a jump scare. Creepy sound design and very, very terrifying creature reveals. It really felt like leaked footage from another reality, or to me it really felt like when the first Paranormal Activity came out and everyone just thought it was absolutely 100% real. Found footage was really starting to take off, and that movie really had a lot of people freaking freaking out for a while that it was real because of that sort of found footage POV style filming, and the Backrooms definitely did a similar thing. It started to feel more like a conspiracy theory, more like real found forbidden footage from like the CIA or something. The realism of these videos is what made Kane's videos themselves so groundbreaking and truly broke the internet. What really made this series of videos so unique too is that it really did not rely solely on jump scares, which is the basis for a lot of horror films, of course. It really relies more on the overall uneasiness of the environment itself, the uncanny valleyness of it all, if you will. Makes viewers feel like they have discovered something that they're not supposed to be seeing. Instead of just a monster jumping out, it's the overwhelming eeriness that you feel the entire time you're viewing something like that. Probably the most insane part of this story is that this theory, this Backrooms internet lore, is being turned into a major movie produced by A24 and Kane Parsons, which is so exciting. I remember when the news first came out about this, I wasn't sure if it was real or not. I wasn't sure if we were actually going to get a movie. And then I saw the trailer come out a while ago. I don't remember, a couple months ago now. And I was so excited. I've been waiting for this forever, and I am just so excited. This is one of my favorite just like internet lore stories. So I'm so excited to see it be adapted into a movie that we can all view. I love A24 as well. Pretty much anything they produce I love. So I'm very excited that they are working on this film, as well as the original creator of the YouTube videos getting his credit and being able to be a part of, you know, making the film as well. I just cannot imagine how exciting that is, and I'm so excited because it's going to be so true to the story from what I understand. So final thoughts, I hope you enjoyed going on this journey through the history and the lore and the current events of the Backrooms themselves. Basically why I wanted to do this video and what I think makes the Backrooms so awesome and unique and worth talking about and worth making a movie about is the fact that it's not just like other traditional folklore or horror that just keeps getting passed around at sleepovers or around campfires when you're telling scary stories. It is created basically by the internet itself, by the different viewers of the original post all the way up to the YouTube videos, and now the internet really collectively built the Backrooms, which in turn is also very terrifying. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This was so fun for me. It was a little bit different. I love talking internet lore, urban legends, creepy things, anything like that. So if you guys liked this video, please let me know in the comments. If you want to see more of this style of video from me or just this type of topic from me, please let me know, or let me know what other topics you would love me to cover. I would love to do that. This was so fun researching, and just I kind of learned along with you guys some of the stuff that I found while preparing for this video. I really did not know, and it was fun to learn it and just kind of you know, get prepared for the movie coming up. So if you liked this style of video, please let me know. I would love to do more. I appreciate you so much for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.